They're up there, but no. I think it should be the Eagles. I mean, let's call running back a wash, although Saquon Barkley is 3 years younger than Derrick Henry. So if Henry fell off this year, it'd be disappointing, but you wouldn't be, like, shocked, right? Like, he's 31 and got a lot of wear and tear on his body. I think he'll have a great year, but I'm being generous by saying that's a wash, all right? QB, obviously, they've got an advantage over, Lamar over Jalen.
I don't know if Wiles agrees, but yeah.
Sure. Not when it comes to the playoffs.
Right, fair. That's fair. Receivers, obviously, is going to the Eagles. And then offensive line, I think they got the best offensive line in the league. That's obviously going to the Eagles. Yeah. And defense, yes, I think the Ravens, it's their culture. They did improve big time last year. But the Eagles went from one of the worst to one of the best defenses in the league. I think Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, these guys are all like 24 or under. They're going to get better. So I don't see how, as much as I like Baltimore, and I think they're up there, I think it has to be the Eagles.
Well, yeah, I'm a little surprised by your answer, but I appreciate it. I'm very surprised by this list. The reason I'm a little surprised by your answer is just because you're such a Ravens guy. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think they were the best. They had the best roster last year, and the roster probably got marginally just a touch worse from last year. Their biggest additions, DeAndre Hopkins. And with
Jair Alexander. I'd say that's
I guess I feel differently. I was looking at the offensive side. On the defensive side, definitely Jair. But I don't think he is, to me, a massive addition. I think Jair Alexander, there's a reason Green Bay
got attitude.
I don't think it's just attitude. I think the last couple of years he hasn't been a great player.
That's fair.
I think he's still a good player, but I just don't think he's been a great player.
Back years.
Maybe. But Baltimore last year, even coming on strong at the end of the year, as you guys mentioned, barely a top 10 scoring defense, the number 31 pass defense. While Justin Tucker last year was not the Justin Tucker of old, he's certainly, who's not on the roster this year, probably more reliable than a sixth-round rookie, you know what I mean, that they're looking at this year. I think they have a downright below-average receiving core. And so I just don't know how. So I just don't know how that team can be the. And by the way, I might have them 5th or 6th or something. It's not like I'm saying they're a bad team.
Yeah.
But to say that's the best roster in the NFL, I think it's crazy.
Okay. We really just can't make up our minds about this Baltimore Ravens team, and the franchise as a whole. I mean, this team was stacked with Pro Bowlers and All-Pro players. The Baltimore Ravens have consistently built great teams over the years, certainly throughout Lamar Jackson's career. They were unbelievable in 23. Unbelievable. Top team. Arguably the best team in the NFL. Just could not perform in the playoffs. Could not execute when it mattered most. And then in 24... it was definitely a weird start for them, and their defense was not great in the beginning, but in the second half of the season, they were an elite defense. They're a top defense. And they made concrete moves and concrete changes to their defense that completely transformed the level of play that they brought. And I guess I'm going to have to be a broken record and say this, and I've now said this in a lot of videos, but it's like Tom Brady kept, it's like what Tom Brady said, where it's just like, this team is a sleeping giant. And you can't be a sleeping giant without a great roster, okay? And so saying that this team is now worse, like I love how you bring DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's just this, oh my gosh, unbelievable. DeAndre Hopkins is actually really special, and he's actually really great. His numbers are going down because look who's his quarterback, and look where he's been playing. But now that he's with Mahomes and Andy, he's amazing. And now it's like, the Ravens, they have DeAndre Hopkins. Who cares? And it's just like, but it's not about adding DeAndre, quite frankly. It's not about any of these pieces. First off, I like what they did in the draft. I like a lot what they did in free agency. But this wasn't a roster that needed to be overhauled. And this is not a below average receiving core. I mean, like, that is such a joke. First off, you have a Pro Bowl receiver. by definition, if you just have one, you are by definition not a below average receiving core. When we talk about receiving cores now, we include tight ends. Like once upon a time, it was just like strictly wide receivers. Like people still struggle with that today, like as we're having conversations about wide receivers. And it's just like tight ends in modern NFL, it's just a hybrid, man. They're wide receivers too. Like it's just different. Okay. So their receiving core from both a wide receiver standpoint and a tight end standpoint is great. They have a great defense. They have a great run game. And to be clear, this list where they rank is 100% statistical. It's based on statistics, not opinion. So that's where things are different, and that's where I'm so much more open to this type of conversation. Because when I was first realized that this list was released, I did a Chicago Bears video, and so this is apparently just strictly analytical. So you can't even actually, I don't want to say you can't disagree with it, but you just have to look at it like, again, analytically. And you could say that it's doesn't tell the whole picture because, again, right, I point out where analytics can go wrong. But I guess my point is like, this is really just by the numbers more than anything, which makes it just changes the type of conversation. Some of the other lists that we've been going through over these last few weeks have been very much opinion based. It's like, oh, we polled the owners, GMs, and execs, and so-and-so, John Smith over at NBC made this list, and Michael, whatever, made this list. And it's like, that's just straight up opinions, obviously. This is just supposed to be 100% based on the analytics, who has the best roster. And make no mistake about it, in 23, unbelievable roster. In 24, going into the season, unbelievable roster. And now going in 2025, unbelievable roster. This team, this offense, this defense was not limited by their roster. The way how this season unfolded, you weren't like, if Lamar just had a little bit better of an O-line, or if you gave Lamar just one more weapon, then this team would really pop. This defense was really just kept blowing game after game after game. That's not how this season unfolded. That's not how the playoffs unfolded. The guys that they had in place failed to execute. Lamar was not perfect. Again, I'm not going to go into the whole thing. I've defended Lamar throughout that game. I don't blame him, but he could have been better. It's undeniable. Coaching could have been better. That's undeniable. Execution as a whole could have been better. The defense played pretty good. Again, the defense played better than the Kansas City Chiefs defense against the Buffalo Bills, quite frankly. So you can only ask so much of your team in any given moment. But you have some turnovers, you have some drop passes, some fumbles, and then you lose, man. I mean, that's what it gets boiled down to. It wasn't just that they needed a better roster. Like, oh, Lamar Jackson was just running for his life all game. Like, that's not how this season unfolded. That's not how how the playoffs unfolded. When we watched that season, when you were watching the Ravens play, they were inconsistent, but when they put it all together, you were like, this is easily one of the scariest teams in the NFL. That when you have that feeling, that's not an indicator of a bad roster. That's coaching, that's execution, that's practice, that's preparation. And then as I also keep putting out all the penalties that they had, that's what that is. Okay, it's not just look at how the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to use the Eagles as a reference point. Like, they started off the regular season not great, not elite, not special, and yet that roster, it's the same roster. And then they made conscious coaching changes and decisions. And then that made them play significantly better when it mattered most. And of course, throughout the season, and of course, obviously throughout the playoffs. But it wasn't like, oh, they, changed the roster. Make no mistake about it. This was more of a coaching thing than a roster. So yeah, they have a great roster. And even if we just look at it just strictly, and again, I know not everyone's there and it's slightly changed, but they led the NFL in Pro Bowl selection. So we can, They had double that of the Kansas City Chiefs. They had nearly double that of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, please, Lamar Jackson fans, I've seen this a couple times. Do not believe in the conspiracy theory that they add Pro Bowlers to the Baltimore Ravens team to make Lamar Jackson look worse. That's one of, without a shadow of the doubt, one of the most insane comments that I could ever read. It really is. Well, I didn't know like even anyone believed that. And then I saw a couple people say it, and I'm just like, wow, we've really lost our minds now at this point. The Baltimore Ravens are an awesome roster. Is it perfect? Is it completely taken care of? Done? No, of course not. But again, you want to talk about a below average receiving corps, like look at the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Kansas City Chiefs had a worse O-line, an obviously receiving corps that was injured. So when Rashee Rice especially went down and Hollywood Brown was down, you're not gonna tell me that who they had was worse than what the Baltimore Ravens have right now. You're not gonna tell me that. And quite frankly, Lamar Jackson undeniably was playing better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes last season, undeniably. And he's also just stronger, faster, more mobile, more agile, more resilient at this point right now. Lamar Jackson really feels like he is still 1,000% in his pure, beast physical prime, right? Like in terms of where he is still peak, like I can do anything I want on this field athletically. I have not seen that from Patrick Mahomes over these last couple of years. I just haven't. I'm not saying that he's not in his prime, but in terms of his like freak prime, Lamar Jackson is still clearly in his freak prime where you're just like, this guy can do anything physically. Like I do believe Lamar Jackson could play wide receiver right now, running back, safety. Like he's just such a physical freak. It's just crazy. And here's the other thing. I don't have the strength to look at this up, man. I'm tired. I was up late making videos. When we went through this going into 2024, Nick Wright was so angry because the Kansas City Chiefs were not considered to have the best roster. Now, I don't think that was based off of analytics at the time. I think that was based off of opinions. I don't remember which list, but I remember them talking about it. And he said, this is ridiculous. The Kansas City Chiefs clearly have the best roster. And he goes in, it's because of Patrick Mahomes. He's like, the quarterback, if you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, you are by definition, you have the best roster. So then what does that make Lamar Jackson though right now? If we're going to continue with that logic, Lamar Jackson is clearly an elite top quarterback in the NFL. That doesn't hold significant weight then when analyzing this roster? Of course it does, especially if we're talking about analytics. Because analytically, in 2024, I'm not going through the stats in this video, but we'll just do it like real fast. That's 2019. Good for you, Tannehill. Had yourself a year, bro. Get rid of the garbage quarterbacks who barely play. 94 offensive rating, Lamar Jackson. 4,172 yards, 1,000 plus rushing, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 119.6 passer rating. Obviously was berserk. Obviously went crazy. So, yeah. And I don't know where we're getting off talking about them having this inferior O-line. People really do just make stuff up. We really do. The Baltimore Ravens had a higher pass block win rate and a higher run block win rate at 70% and 70%. They were the third in the NFL on both. Okay? That's 70%. The Philadelphia Eagles were 67%, ranked 6th. And this has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. This has nothing to do with holding on to the ball. As I always emphasize, this is strictly on a time metric where it's only factoring in 2.5 seconds. So it's not like, it's not, you don't get a hit if you hold on for the ball, or if Lamar Jackson is able to scramble and avoid pressure. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. This stat is incredibly binary. It's, do you stop the pass rush? Yes or no? Yes or no? And it's just boom. So let's not act like this wasn't a good O-line, because it was. It was an awesome O-line. It was a top O-line for both pass block and run blocking. So you want to talk about conspiracies, Lamar Jackson fans, about having Pro Bowlers to try to downplay Lamar Jackson's greatness or to make him look worse, which again doesn't make sense. No, that's what they do for the Philadelphia Eagles in the O-line. Because throughout the season, everyone kept saying that it was the Detroit Lions had the best O-line, or the Buffalo Bills had the best O-line. And now they just give it to the Eagles because they won the Super Bowl, I suppose, and they want to explain why Jalen Hurts was able to win. And it's just like, here you go. Baltimore Ravens, clearly an awesome, special, great, elite team. It has been their execution. These last couple of years has not been an issue of roster. It has been execution. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens? Are you buying that they have the number one roster? And let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.